Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today I'm going to be tasting and unboxing a beautiful handmade salt that I just recently learned about. It's called Asin tibouk and it comes from the Philippines, but more specifically Bohol Island, where the Boholano make this salt that is so very labor intensive, and it looks just absolutely incredible. The salt is called Asin tibouk, and it means whole or unbroken salt. And the process is extraordinary. So first, coconut husk, which is the portion that protects the coconut. It's very thick and woody. That is broken into pieces and soaked in pits with seawater for several months. Then the dried coconut husks are burned to create an ash. Now the kasang, or the ash, is packed into a bamboo frame that's shaped like a funnel, which is called a sagsag, which is lined in leaves. And they are packed to create essentially a filter. Salt water is trickled on the top and it percolates all the way through all the ash, making a very concentrated brine called tatsik. Now that is a solution that is used to create the salt. So there's a special furnace over which hand-formed earthenware pots are arranged, and the tatsik, or the concentrated brine, is poured into each pot, and it is bubbled and cooked down so that the water evaporates, leaving the salt behind. This process is done continually for hours, about 8 hours, so that nothing is left but a solid mass of salt inside the clay pots. When the process is completed, the entire vessel is filled with salt. There's no more water, and you chip away the outside earthenware pot, revealing a solid, beautiful hunk of artisan salt. So Asin tibouk is often called the rarest salt because it is found on this small island, but also because the process of making it is so labor intensive, and there are very few people practicing making this salt. Due to competition, there are much cheaper salts found all over the world. It's very difficult to justify the amount of labor and time and effort involved making this artisan salt. But luckily, due to more international interests and knowledge of Asin tibouk, there has been a resurgence in the making of it, which is great because this is a traditional practice that could be lost because no one is making it. But there are a few people still making it, which is wonderful. And today I'm going to be tasting it. So my salt came to me packaged in this beautiful box. Look at this. Isn't this great? And I've got a little bow on top. And let's see what it looks like. Look at this. Isn't this a beautiful pattern? Look at that, isn't that lovely? Woven basket. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. I could use this for a drawer organizer. Perfect. So 874 grams, 30 ounces, so about 2 pounds. Some of this is also clay, so it's not entirely salt. Here it is. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So some of the clay has been removed already. Look at that. Okay, let me take off the plastic so you can see it better. Oh my gosh, look how stunning this is. I love it. Isn't it marvelous? Look at that. It is so beautiful. This is all salt. And this is the clay pot that it was cooked in. So when they cook it, it's cooked like this, upside down. The clay pot is intact, and this is completely empty. The tatsik, or the brine, is poured into here, and it is cooked and evaporated until it becomes solid like this. Look at that, isn't that great? You can see the little bubbling ports where the air escaped as it was cooking. So they have several of these cooking on the furnace at the same time. And it takes hours for this vessel to fill up with salt. And then once it's cooled, then the clay is shipped away to expose the salt, and then we just grate it to have it. Look how beautiful that is. So let's talk a little bit about salts. We've got our beautiful Asin tibouk, but I've also got a couple of other salts that I have in my kitchen. This is the one I use most often, and this is just kosher salt. I don't believe kosher salt is iodized. Iodized salt is when iodine is added to salt. It was shown when people get iodine deficiencies that they can grow large goiters, and just adding some iodine to the salt can avoid those deficiencies. So in my salt cellar here, I've got Morton kosher salt. This is the salt I use the most in my house. It's kind of counterintuitive, but because the flakes are larger, it tends to be less salty. So if you see a cookbook that requires kosher and you only have table, I would use less table salt because it is saltier. And then the other salt I have in a little grinder, Himalayan salt. So you might have seen this all over the place, and it's distinctive because it is pink. It's called Himalayan salt because it's mined near the Himalayas from ancient seabeds. And the reason why it's pink is because it contains minerals, more specifically iron oxide. That's what gives it the pink color. If you're just to distill sea water, where salt comes from, it would be of this color. This comes from the earth, those minerals. Some people say Himalayan salt is healthier for you because it has those trace minerals. Other people say it doesn't make much of a difference. I just happen to have some. I like having it in a grinder because then I can mill it over my food and it's really fine. See that powder? Kosher salt, which is a little more coarse. Then there's Malden sea salt, which is very famous, French salt, all kinds of different salts, smoked salt. But these are the two that I have in my house. Now we have our beautiful Asin tibouk. We hold it very conveniently by this handle here. Take our microplane grater and just grate it over our food. It also can be broken and crumbled into dishes as well. Look at that. It's like a dust. Now that I have all these salts on here, let's give them a taste. I'm going to taste the Asin tibouk first. Here we go. Whoa, it's intensely salty. Wow, I don't think I've ever tasted salt by itself before. It's salty. Why is that? That doesn't really help you much, but it was very salty. It reminds me of like when you go to the ocean and you drink a mouthful of seawater. Oh, I forgot to tell you the historical importance of salt. Now, salt, super, super, super important. It was actually a way to pay Roman soldiers. That's why we get the word salary, because soldiers were paid with salt. Salt is important for our bodies to function correctly, but also, and almost, in my opinion, more importantly, it makes our food taste absolutely delicious. Asin tibouk, very, very salty and a little smoky. Let's try the Himalayan salt. That actually tastes a little bit different. I can't believe I've never done that before. Like oyster shells, has a more kind of oystery shell. It's not seafoody, but it's kind of a calcium taste. Wow, okay, kosher salt. I don't need nearly as much. That one to me tastes the plainest. It just tastes salty. The Asin tibouk, the smokiness is subtle, and I really like the fine texture of it. It just dissolves very saltily on my tongue, while the kosher salt has really big nugs of it, which is great for seasoning, say, a steak or something, but not so much in tasting like this. Now let's have it in a context. In terms of when and where this type of salt would be used, it'd be any time that you cook, of course, but a common application would be simply grated on top of rice with a little bit of oil. I also saw it served in a rice porridge or rice gruel, which I happen to have. We call it joke in my house, and I have two sick little kids. They're actually not that little anymore, but they're still sick, and I always make this when anyone is sick in my house, and it's just so warm and comforting. It's super simple. This is a chicken version. I make it with leftover rice. It comes together even faster, but you can use uncooked rice, add water, add some chicken, bring it to a boil, and then reduce it down and simmer it until it gets really, really soft and thick like this. Add some salt, pepper. I love adding white pepper. You can add some chicken bouillon powder if you have that. That gives it a little extra bit of savoriness. And we usually top this with a little bit of green onion, but we're going to keep it plain today. So I'm going to season it with my Asin tibouk. Just grate it right on top. Alrighty, let's give it a taste. Itadakimasu. It's so good. Warm, nourishing, comforting, pleasantly salty, but not overly so. Chickeny, delicious. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. The absolutely stunning Asin tibouk. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Needs to be hotter. Need to heat it up a little bit more. Make yourself some joke.